So back to being our own worst enemy. I think a lot of people don't really think about it like this, but I do, is our minds were designed to prevent us from pain, right?
Yeah.
It's like back in the day, what was it like? You're running through the plains of Africa as a caveman. You see a lion. The first thing is fight or flight, right? You're running to avoid the pain of being eaten by a freaking lion, right? When you're a kid and you're at the campground and you stick your hand in the fire, you don't have to think, oh my God, that fire's hot. I need to avoid that by pulling my hand out. You immediately pull a hand out because your brain is wired to avoid pain. And what a lot of people don't think about is that feeling uncomfortable is painful. If you're in think about it, now's the perfect time to talk about this. If you're, if you lean, say, one way politically, and you're in a room full of people that lean the other way politically, you're going to feel freaking uncomfortable nowadays, right? Because there's such a hatred between both sides that you're going to feel uncomfortable. And we want to avoid that at all costs. Right? We want to avoid feeling uncomfortable when, my wife tells me that we have to go to a birthday party at this person's house. Well, I don't get along with that person. I feel uncomfortable when I'm there. I'm going to come up with every excuse in the book not to go to that birthday party, right? Like, we all have these little things that we try to avoid feeling uncomfortable. We want to be comfortable, and we want to stay comfortable, but growth doesn't happen.
Growth happens when you're uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Which reminds me of the lobster. Have you heard about the lobster?
I've not.
Ooh, let me tell you about the lobster. So this is interesting, right? So a lobster is an exoskeleton. See, I paid attention in science class in middle school. And they grow on the inside until their shell isn't growing, right? They get so uncomfortable inside of this shell, and they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it because it's dangerous in the ocean, right? They can get eaten at any time.
Yeah.
And if they shed their shell, which is their only protection, they are super vulnerable in a sea of monsters. So they don't want to do it. They wait until they're super uncomfortable and they go under a rock or something. They shed their shell. They're able to grow a new shell that's bigger, that has a lot of space, and then they grow a little bit more, and then they get uncomfortable, and they do that over and over and over again to something tiny, 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 to a Maine lobster that you get to eat one day, right?
Sure.
Hopefully it gets that big because I'm hungry and I want it now. But if that's exactly what we do as humans, is we get uncomfortable, and that's where growth happens. In order to grow like a lobster, we have to be uncomfortable. And in our businesses especially, we have to put ourselves in a place of being uncomfortable, because that's where we're going to learn, that's where we're going to grow, and that's where we're going to be able to increase our revenues.
And a word that you said there that I want to emphasize is vulnerability. You got to be vulnerable to be able to grow and be successful.
Yeah, right? It's a scary thing to do a video and put yourself on the interwebs for everybody to see, and then you have self-doubts like everybody else, and what are they going to think? Or they think I was stupid? It's like, well, thank God I don't care about that part, because I can look stupid anytime, but it's not that easy for
video
everybody
to look stupid.
Yeah, I don't need a video to do that, but it's not easy. But like what everybody, if you listen or follow anybody that's had any kind of success, they're going to tell you the same thing. They had the same fears, they had the same self-doubts, they had the same self-talk, and the only thing that helped them overcome that was being comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you can't just do that. That's easier said than done. And that's why you need to work with a mentor or a coach, somebody that can see what you're doing and hear what you're dealing with to help you overcome that, to get rid of those things.